All right, welcome to the Muscle Maturity Podcast, episode 73. My name is John Hansen. I'm here with Marcus Guerrero and 1983 Mr. Olympia, Samir Bannout. How you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm doing
Good.
incredible.
Go ahead, Marcus. You started
I
first.
always got to get the respect to Samir. I always try to let Samir go first, man. I'm doing incredible. I'm in the presence of
John is jealous of me because he didn't win Mr. Olympia. That's why.
That's right.
How you doing, guys? Good to see you guys. Only joking.
All right, we got to talk about the NYPRO that just happened last week. I was way off in my predictions. I thought Quinton was going to win, and he did not win. Nick Walker won, as everybody predicted. And Martin Fitzwater was very, very close. 1 point difference, or 2 points, 2-point difference. So it was very close between those two. So let's talk about Nick Walker first. So Samir, you said that he was gonna pull it together after that guest posing, and you were right. So what's your opinion on how Nick Walker looked at this show?
Well, like I said, I felt comfortable about Nick correcting that. He did not look good enough, in my opinion, at the guest posing. And yes, his middle looked wider and whatever it was, the cause. But I felt, since you have a very capable coach with Matt Jansen, and I felt comfortable that this issue can be altered. And so I was impressed with Nick's, the changes that he made in a matter of days. And it was a great contest, and it was close. Honestly, I'm really impressed by Martin Fitzwater, because I think Martin looked really good, and he pushed him completely. I mean, honestly, I at some point, with all due respect, I felt almost could have gone either way, So I think Walker, he still needed to do a little bit more. I don't like the fact that he left his face, the shade color wasn't as. He need to work on that. He need to be more professional. Nick, come on, Nick, you got it, man. You got to go into Mr. Olympia now. You got to have everything done perfectly. Yeah, but I was impressed, and I'm happy for him. He's a warrior. He's a hard worker. And, in the past, like I said, I wasn't a big fan of Nick Walker, talking about 4 or 5 years ago. But ever since he connected with Matt Jansen, honestly, it's safe to say that Nick Walker is doing awesome, and I wish him the best at the Olympia. And I also want to congratulate him for winning, and also congratulate Martin Fitzwater, who was very, very impressive. And I loved his look and overall physique. So,
yeah. Marcus, do you think this was the best Nick's ever looked?
So as far as from a muscle standpoint, I think it's the biggest I've seen him. I will say that I liked him at the this past Arnold Classic a little bit more. I think it was just a little bit of a tighter look, and it could be obviously different things that come into play. But I liked him at Arnold Classic, but I was highly, highly impressed with the way he looked at the NYPRO. Kudos to him. I think the legs are actually even a little bigger. I'm not going to lie. Like I actually think the legs had quite a nice pop to it. You can see, especially in like the adductor area, looks pretty good. But I was impressed. But I will say that I liked him at the Arnold Classic, but highly, highly impressed. And I think it was a well-deserved win for Nick Walker.
What about you, Samir? You think this is the best Nick's ever looked?
Well, the thing is, the body never always fluctuate a little bit. You don't look exactly the same at every show. Sometimes you do little changes here and there. But, I mean, for me, Nick looks awesome. I'm like surprised that days after that, winning that show, he filled up completely, and it looked like more massive. And actually, his midsection looked even smaller. So, and this is what I always say it, the final few days loading in this, sometimes some of the best coaches, they kind of like question it a little bit. You got to not be scared when you have no fat on you. And Nick Walker didn't have any fat on him. And I think he could have even be fuller. And sometimes if you're not fuller, your waist tend to actually go down. If you flatten out a little bit, your waist may go down a little bit. But I like the way he looks here, even after the show. And look at his midsection, in my opinion, looks even tighter. Why? Because it was fuller. And I'm sure Matt knows exactly what happened here. But yeah, I mean, impressive. I'm like impressed with the new Nick Walker, that he didn't look anything like that 4 years ago. And so now he's knocking on the door at the Olympia. And so let's hope he keep improving. I mean, the guy is a warrior. He works so hard, and I wish him the best.
So we had somebody say they thought Nick's waist got bigger over the years, and we've got video footage of Nick when he won this show, the New York Pro, 3 years ago, I believe, in 2021. Mm-hmm. So let's look at that. And now I want to get your guys' opinion on: do you think his waist is bigger now, or his look is better now, or was it better then? This was like 3 years ago.
Look, he's been under the same coach, and I think Matt Jansen was coaching him here too, right?
Mm-hmm. I think
so. Yeah, he's not missing his peak, but sometimes you may come to the show 99% full. Sometimes you may come in 94% full, and that little bit causes some little fluctuation in conditioning. And, you got to be a masterful coach, because it's a fine line at the end. So either you can go over or under. But the bottom line, his body fat is just perfectly where it should be. Peaking, could make some people could miss it by a hair, or, but I'm impressed at both show. But he looked fantastic. And this is it's what year again? 21?
21, yeah.
John?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he looks pretty 21. Good. I'm impressed. I mean,
so which one looks better, Samir?
It's hard for me to say. Sometimes the lighting. Sometimes I like his tan better here. His face matching.
Make a commitment. Which one looks better?
I don't know. I wish I could see both at the same time. That was where I have a better perspective, but. He looks more professional here because his tanning looks better, So,
what do you think, Marcus? Which one looks better? You think he looks better now, or he looked better?
I'm going to try to puzzle piece this one the best way I can. So, I think that the legs today look better. Personally, I think that his legs today look better. The ab region at 21, I really like. They were etched, blocked, a little bit less separation here in the middle. So I really enjoyed that look. But I will say there's a mass to him now that I like. The shoulders a little bit wider. The quads have gotten a much better sweep from the top, which I think helps his physique because he has, he's working with what he has. I'll say that I'm a fan of both. If I could take the size now and give it to that, whatever that was, that just that next step of what it looked like in 2021, I'd be happy. And it's the package, right? As Samir was saying, there's little things that come into play here. It's the 99 compared to the 98%. But I really do like both looks. But I think overall package, I really enjoyed how he was in 2021. I was also there too. It was the Tampa Pro edition, so I was able to check that one out.
Yeah, I saw it too. I was there too.
Seeing it in person.
It's okay. Hey, it's okay. Listen, I did my best in 84. Everyone think I look better in 83. But so, the body can, a small bit of changes, a hair bit, it could, you're going to be, looked at differently from the judges, I guess. But
in other words, he's bigger now than he was then. But what's more important, more size or more finish?
I like quality always over quantity. And I'm really, look, big and pretty is fine with me. It's better than small and pretty. So if you're big at all costs and you're blocky, I'm not for you. I'm not gonna vote for you. Let's put it this way. You remember earlier we talked, one of you guys said something about Martin Fitzwater. He said, oh, it's small. Martin wasn't small. Martin is a smart guy. What he did, he guest posed and it looked good, but he knew his eyes was focused on peaking for the show. And boom, at the show, he came in completely full. And honestly, very, very impressed. And whatever he's doing, Martin Fitzwater, I like this guy. I think he's going the right direction. But, there'll always be fluctuation, John. It's not going to be every year exactly the same.
Well, I'm not saying fluctuations. It just seems like most bodybuilders today, I would say most pro bodybuilders in general, most of them feel improvement means more size. You got to come in shape. You got to come in hard. But improvement every year means more size, more size, more size. And now we're looking at Nick from 3 years ago, and we're looking at Nick now. Nick is bigger now. My question is he better now than he was 3 years ago? 3 years ago, he was finished. He was hard. To me, if you ask my opinion, his abs were much harder in 2021, and his waist even looks smaller. Not as wide, smaller this way. Like if you put a tape measure to it, my guess is 2021, it's smaller than it is now. Was he in shape now? Yes, he's in shape now. He won the contest. He was good enough to win the contest. He's bigger now. My question is, which look is better? Is he going in the right direction, putting on more size? And now he's got, 5 months to the Olympia? So now is he going to put on more size for the Olympia? Is that the right direction to go? Is he going to be rewarded for that? Or is he better off coming in more finished? That's my question.
John, I'm going to jump on that. Sorry, before Marcus jump in here. Look, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I was not a fan of Nick Walker. I'm being honest with you. And
I'm talking
Nick was
4 years, 3 years.
About. And you know what? If you put him on the scale back then and on the scale now, I bet you he weighed less now. And I bet you the reason why he gained me as a fan now, I'm impressed that he really turned it around. Now he's pro quality. They are doing something smart. And I tell you, the same coach, Matt Jansen, he was actually working with Chris Bumstead. And so I'm not just saying, Matt Jansen, to me, very good coach, looking at what he's doing, at his track record. For me right now, there's Hani, Ron Boyd, and Matt Jansen. To me, those coaches are fully aware and they're doing things smart. Those two coaches, I 100% agree with their concept. They don't always think size. I may disagree with some of the thing here. I'm not pro size. Like talking about Derek. Derek already have tons of beef on him, for example. I don't think he needs size. That's my opinion, but maybe his coach sees it differently. I would love to see Derek repeat, but for him to repeat, he got to outmatch Hadi Chopin, because Hadi Chopin is coming with concrete etch muscularity. Let's not bullshit ourselves. Ask me, which body do I want? Do I want Hadi Chopin's physique, or would I want, Derek? I would pick Derek's body for me, but I wouldn't go for size.
But I'm talking about Nick.
Nick, he has come a long way. Don't expect him to be like Frank Zane right now. Nick have a shape where it's Nick Walker's body. What he did, he took that body from, let's say, hippo and turned it into a gazelle. He turned it into more like a lion style. He did a tremendous job. He's doing the right thing.
2021 to 2024. 2021 to 2024. Which look is better?
Very close to call it for me. Very, very close. But either way,
you had to call it.
I don't think. Listen, I don't think it's. Let me just pick something here. Sometime in bodybuilding, there is always some changes. Some athlete would take different supplementation, for example. Okay, and let's be honest here. There are different kind of supplementation that we call it.
I'm not asking why. Asking why it looks like this. I'm just saying, if you just look at the physique as a judge, in 2021 to 2024, let's just assume he's bigger now. Which look is better? What do you think, Marcus? Which look is better?
I'm going to pick option C and go with the Arnold Classic 2023. That is my favorite look of Nick thus far. I think it's a mix of both what you guys are both saying, or what you guys are both seeing as far as the 2021.
So was he harder
I
there
think
than
a
he
little
is
harder,
now?
yeah, a little harder. Still has the size, just a little harder.
Okay.
And like I said, I think it's that 98 to 99% difference, as Samir touched on earlier. I think what we're seeing now is we're all like, they're all chasing something. It's like basketball, right? It's a 3-point game now. It's way different from what it was in the 90s or the early 2000s, to where you got a lot of the top 3, top 4 guys are coming in size, and that's what we're chasing, right? So someone like Samson, he has to chase the size, even though he has the aesthetic, the look, everything. And what we're seeing is someone like Nick, who is using his best attributes at his finest. And I think that's what happens when you put a great athlete with a coach like a Matt Jansen, to where what we see is somebody fulfilling everything we want in this sport, to where, yes, it's maybe not the aesthetic we want, like how, for instance, with Martin, we look at someone like Martin Fitzwater and the silhouette is beautiful, right? He's not being outsized, but I do think that there's just a difference in muscle density, the depth that Nick has, and I feel like he's fighting with his strength. So I think Nick is going in the right direction, and he continues to be, and he's showcased that since 2021. 2021 is one of my favorite looks as well. I think that's why we brought it up, but that a little bit more conditioned, aka 2024 New York Pro, a little bit more conditioned, a little bit tighter.
So
right? I see the obliques and things like that, but
okay. Well, let's see, Marcus. I'm going to ask that question to you, Jean. Okay, what do you see happen to Nick Walker, Mr. John? What do you see the different? I mean, what's the negative side that you're talking about? I want to know about.
Well, I just think he's shooting for more size. And the reason I was asking this is we had a question from one of our fans, and he said that Steve Weinberger was on, I think he was being interviewed by RX Muscle, and he mentioned size a few times when asking about the judging criteria. So with that said, if Nick won because he was bigger than Martin, would Nick be better off going for more size as he's getting ready for the Olympia? Or should he try to get more streamlined and more finished like he looked in 2021? Because to me, if comparing those two videos, Nick looks more streamlined, looks harder and more finished in 2021 than he does in 2024. I know it's a different venue. That show was in Tampa. This one was in New York or New Jersey. But still, which direction would he be better going in to improve his physique and improve his chances at the Olympia?
Oh, my God, John, my friend, listen. Frank Zane won the Olympia 3 times. He won the Olympia 3 times, right?
But Nick Walker's not Frank Zane.
Look at, doesn't matter here. I want to give you an example that the body doesn't look identical in each show. Sometimes there is some changes, but that was not negative. If the difference in Nick Walker's body, in your opinion, was bad, it's like, from my perspective, I haven't seen any negative changes. All I have seen is like, yeah, we know he got injured. Pulled his hamstring last year, and that actually put him out for a while. But no, I think he still came back with vengeance, and he came back looking good. I'll be honest with you. Look, I'm friend with, Nick Fitzwater, and then we talk. And the thing is, I'm going to tell the truth every time. I think Fitzwater needs to get even sharper. When he's sharper with that kind of body. But Nick Walker, come on, he was, from my perspective, he looked pretty damn sharp. But his physique is genetic. Nick Walker's genetic is doing the best possible with that body that he has.
Yes.
And do I say he's got worse?
He did the right thing and he won the show. I'm not saying he looked bad. I'm just saying which is the right direction for him to go. Should he try to keep getting bigger, or should he try to get more streamlined and finished like he was a couple of years ago when he was competing in 2021?
I would say, looking at his photo after the show, you can tell that he wasn't fighting the war with size. He came in with his coach. He's probably, when he loaded up, he was probably 10, 12 pounds fuller in that, gym photos that we saw. But that's an indication that his coach, he's not always thinking, I want him to be the most massive guy up there. I want him to be the most chiseled. Do I think his quality was a hair better than Fitzwater. Okay, his quality was hair better than Fitzwater, but I like the shape of Fitzwater, Martin. To me, the call could have gone either way. But look at a guy like Fitzwater. He's got great genetic, and look out for him when he's more shredded. Lord have mercy, this guy's going to be a troublemaker. And so, and in terms of the changes on Nick Walker, honestly, it hasn't been negative, and from my perspective.
Okay. All right, let's talk about Martin Fitzwater then. He was second, and he was very close. It was a 2-point decision. So why do you think he lost out to Nick? Was it more size on Nick?
You have 7 or 8 judges out there. And, if you put a guy like me or you or Martin, and we are really very, what can I say, passionate, and we judge the flow. I judge the flow of the body, the quality, and Martin has the flow. Okay, he's missing nothing from my perspective. He looks pretty good. I know there's a couple of poses could be changed a little bit, and the things about Martin, and I talked to him. He is very positive. He believes in constructive criticism. You can criticize the guy, and he'll thank you for it. He doesn't get mad. Like I remember back in the days, I used to tell some professional bodybuilder my opinion. They get upset. Oh, what? Like, come on. Take it as a constructive. Look, good flow to his thighs. Very nice teardrop. The diamond calf. The waist is perfectly small. Even his posing was pretty good. I mean,
yeah,
he could have been a little bit sharper, yet in my opinion, and he'll be dangerous. I mean, I'm looking at a body similar to mine, basically. I mean, if I wasn't super shredded, I probably wouldn't have won the Olympia, and you know that. So for that's his first comeback after Houston. He won in Houston, didn't he? Martin.
He won Detroit.
I'm sorry, Detroit. Sorry, he won in Detroit, and he's way better than Detroit right now. So he's moving forward. Yeah. I expect more out of Martin. Just the fact I'm looking at his, look at small ankle, diamond calves, flow, the outer thighs, hamstring, glutes, the V shape. So the body is pretty much balanced, and this is what you want in bodybuilding. You want to look at harmony and balance. Yeah. And so I expect a lot out of Martin in the near future. So he'll be a force to reckon with.
What do you think, Marcus? You think Martin should have beat Nick based on this?
No, I get why it's close. I think when you see them just standing there in general, there's just a different type of muscle density and depth that Nick has that Martin isn't quite there yet as far as just what shows, right? You turn him to the side. Honestly, Martin, my bias, I love Martin's side chest. I think it's one of the coolest looking side chests of today. I really like it. I think his traps have like this crazy amount of density to them that really makes the shape of his whole entire back. But if I'm comparing him to Nick, no, I think that Nick is just a little bit better when it comes to the muscle depth and density. Now, I think it's crazy that we brought up the Detroit Pro, right? So like this is, I think, kind of ties into everything else as far as if we saw the Detroit Pro Martin Fitzwater at the New York Pro, I don't think we'd be talking about him the way we are, which is kind of insane. And we see that happen with Nick with the Pittsburgh Pro. I mean, Pittsburgh was guest posing, but I think it just really goes to show those little tiny details can really make all the difference. Where he literally took Nick to deep waters, which is insane. To me, that's just incredible. But as Samir touched on, the glutes, I mean, crazy etched out glutes. He's really one of those people. Once he gets into the pose, the body starts to pop. Like when I see him in his front double, I'm like, I don't see a lot of arm. Like the arms aren't impressive to me as like a Nick or, but whenever he goes into his side chest, all of a sudden just pops. Like the biceps are popping, triceps are popping. So like as far as silhouette, I'm gonna go with Martin, but there's so much more to a show to where I feel like just a little bit more depth and density to the muscle. I think Martin is going to be a force, man. He's already there. He's already a force, but
he won the silhouette. He won the silhouette, in your opinion, right?
100%. I 100%. Without a doubt. But Nick,
he looks really good. How do you see it, Jean, from your perspective? When I hear that from you.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with him. I never saw his posing. I didn't watch it last weekend, so that was the first time I saw it. but I'm really impressed with him. I think he's wide. He's got good shape, good legs, and I like the way he presented himself. He was very aggressive. Yeah. He hit the poses spot on. He was, really knew how to pose his body, and he's got like a better V shape, more harder, harder abs, especially in that shot there. Good legs. He's got a very complete physique. I think he's going to be really good at the Olympia.
And I
got to give him credit too.
What's wrong with these
guys? He
won
the Detroit Pro. Yeah. Martin won the Detroit Pro, and a lot of people were saying Good Vito could have won. So he kept going. He didn't have to do this show because he's already qualified for the Olympia because he's got to win. But he kept going. He wanted to go up against Nick. So I give him credit, man. That shows a lot of competitive spirit,
And it paid off.
Honestly, I felt that. I just like his flow to his body. I mean, look at the size of the shoulders and on, Nick Walker is more massive yet, but then look, Martin is coming up, and there was 7-8 more pounds of quality muscle, and you have a long time to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't see I would like to see Martin delts more separated. Okay. I want to see his traps more cut, but the shape, the muscle are beautiful. He's got everything, and he's cut enough, but I want him to see shredded to the bone. If he does that, my God, he's going to be a force to reckon with. I'm telling you. Beautiful physique.
Like you can even.
Yeah, Nick's definitely got more thickness inside. You could see it in that back shot in particular, that rear double bicep.
Yeah.
You could just see how much more size and thickness he got. The arms, the back, the shoulders.
Yeah, when they turn to the side.
If Nick wasn't in shape, he would have lost, but Nick was in good shape. Yeah, it's deeper. You look around the traps, the deeper, even in the delts. So Martin has that. And once it is 24K, right now it's like 22K, 23K. He's coming up, man. Yeah. I tell you, you'll be surprised. And honestly, if you talk to him, he's so positive and so eager. He wants it badly. So, I expect a lot out of Martin. And he will do great.
And it was really close with the scores too. If you could pull up those scores, Scott, we'll take a look at it, because I think it was like a 2-point decision. So they just have they have one score for the prejudging, and then they have one score for the night show. So let's see here. That's classic. It's 212. There we go.
Men's bodybuilding.
Okay, so there. Nick got a.
Where is it?
Oh, you had it, Scott.
You're scrolling so fast. I'm right getting dizzy. Oh, Martin 5'10". Where's Nick?
Nick's on the bottom. He got 4-4, and so final score of 8.
Wow, it's very close. Yeah. Very, very close.
I was asking how Nick could have gotten a 4, but if you could pull up those comments, Scott, somebody explained it. Because you know how it is, Samir. I mean, every judge gives a placement system. So if there's 5 judges and everybody gives Nick a 1, then he's going to get a 5. So I was wondering how he got a 4. But this guy here made a comment, and he said that they must have only counted three judges total. So if 2 judges had Nick in first and 1 judge had him in second, that would be 1 + 1 + 2, which would be a 4.
Which is kind of insane.
I don't know why they would only count 3 judges.
It's insane for a show like
They won't tell you what judges did what.
No, they don't do that anymore.
That's I think that was pretty tough.
Like if they were using 3, if they only counted 3 scores, then it must have been split between Martin and Nick. That's the bottom line. There must have been some judges that gave Nick first, some judges gave Martin first, and then Nick got more first place votes. So
Tonio
unless they only, like if they use 5 judges and they crossed out a high and a low, then only 3 scores would count. That probably is what happened, I would think.
Yeah. Super close.
Did Tonio look better this time or last year? Tonio won it last year, right, Marcus?
Yeah, Tonio won last year. I was impressed with Tonio. I really was. I think this is one of the best Tonios we've seen. Once again, when you compare him to 1 and 2, because he got third place, and 1 and 2 just had a little bit more conditioning. He's very narrow when it comes to the clavicle width, but I mean, he makes the most of his physique.
Yep.
I do want to see, like, especially from the back shots, because Tonio, I'm not gonna lie, I have a bias for Tonio. I love Tonio. I love the physique. It's a cool physique to me. I love this physique, but when he turns to the back, there's something to be said about his hamstrings. The conditioning was not quite
there. Turn to the back. Let's see.
And he just didn't have as much of like the rooted out hamstrings that we see with like a Martin or Nick. Like I said, but you see it in the glutes a little bit too. The glutes are still there, but just not as much as a Martin or even Nick. So I think a little bit more size there. The lower back, the conditioning was a little off. I'm actually really happy that we got the Cali Pro coming up, because we get to see kind of like a repeat of the New York Pro from last year with Stu Sutherland, Antonio, and I think they're going to come in a little better.
I was there last year. He looked pretty. He looked slightly better last year, though.
I think at the Cali Pro, New York Pro.
The year he won the New York Pro last year, he was a little bit better.
Last year,
a little sharper. Yeah.
I do think he was not as sharp. And then if I'm comparing him to the top two, there was just the conditioning was just not as much. And then there are certain things about him, like, when it comes to just the width, the amount of space he takes up, especially from the front shots. It's just, he doesn't take as much space as like a Martin does, which is kind of shocking. I thought they were more similar in size, Martin and Tonio, but Martin clearly had the size advantage.
I'm impressed though. He looks good too. So
you got to be impressed with the back shots, right, Samir? The back, this show, the top fourth in New York Pro, I think when they all turned around, the back lat spread, like they all looked very impressive. Like I was actually happy to see that, because I have a bias towards back. I love back, and they all killed it when it came to the back.
Yeah.
He's got very long torso, short legs.
How old is he, Marcus?
I don't think he's above. He can't be older than 31, 32. Might even be younger, actually. He might even be in his 20s.
I mean, he might look.
He's got a lot of thick, gnarly muscle. I think it's just his structure that holds him back when he goes up against guys like Nick and Martin. Just because, like you said, Marcus, he's got that really narrow shoulder structure.
Yeah, and he's 32.
Sometimes you can't do much when you have a physique, and if you have a genetic like that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. What about? I want to know about Quinton. Quinton.
Let's talk about beef stew first before we get to Quinton. Let's pull up. There we go. Here's beef stew. He was second to Tonio last year at the Cal Pro, so he'll be going up against him this year too. Looks like he's gotten bigger from last year.
Well, if he get himself a little haircut, it would look better. It would look bigger.
I think that's his trademark. I don't think he's going to cut it.
It looks like one of the Jackson 5 in a way.
Somebody said, I think Vic Martinez called him Bruno Mars.
Bruno Mars, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you have too much hair, it takes away some of your size on your body. Believe me, people don't pay attention to this. Watch him now get a haircut after what I said. No, I saw him last year. He looked good. I think he's a hair bit flat. Little bit flat.
I think his legs
he was harder last year.
I think his legs are super impressive. Like, I love the way that they tie in from, like, literally the hip bone, it looks like. Like, it's such a high insertion. Size-wise, I think, like I said, I one of the things I noted on him was he's going to eventually take out a heavy hitter. I think that's going to happen. I think there's going to be one of these shows where one of these top guys are trying to get in there and give it a year or so. I think within a year or so, he's going to take out a heavy hitter. And then it's going to be the same thing that we're seeing with Martin for, in beef stew realm. A lot of size taken up on that stage by this man right here. But kind of, if we turn to the front, we can see that especially when he gets into his front double, the abdomen area just kind of disappears. And I think that's what kind of holds him back a little bit. And it's the shape is there, but it's just, there's certain shots where the abs just aren't etched. Like, I mean, you see in some of these right now as we're looking, the abs are just not as etched as they could be. And I think that'll really take the shape to the next level because he has the size. I mean, the width on this guy is, he's comparable to Nick as far as like the size, like the stature, shoulder to shoulder ratio and things like that. Yeah,
Got
crazy.
great width.
Cool
Yeah.
shape.
But his abs definitely need to be sharper. I agree with you there. So next week with Tonio and him, who do you think is going to win?
I got to go with Tonio. I'm gonna go with Tonio. I mean, if I was betting, I'd say Tonio, but I think it's gonna be a repeat of what we saw prior, to where it's gonna be a deep water race with these two. And I love that out of the top 7, we do see a good bit returning.
Who else is?
That's the lineup for next week.
That's going to be here in LA, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So you got Tonio coming back, Stu, Christian Wolski, he got 5th. Tim got 7th. Tim's another one where the abs, a lot of great size, but the abs are just not there. It's kind of washed out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see.
All right, well, let's talk about Quinton. My pick to win. He got 6th place.
Well, I don't think it was you made a bad decision, John, but I believe, from my perspective, I think he could have been a lot fuller. I bet you he'll look 3 times, 4 times better after the show. From my perspective, I feel that he was way too depleted. He was not full enough. You know, I've seen him bigger. I've seen him bigger in just a sharp, or maybe, you know. That could be the reason, John, because if you have a pretty body and you're not matching size wise, you're gonna suffer, you know. But I love his physique, beautiful physique, and you weren't wrong by picking him up, because honestly, had he peaked properly, from my perspective, he would have. It probably is down like 4 or 5 pounds of glycogen. Could be. Look, you know how Martin made the necessary adjustment from the Houston, the Detroit show to the New York Grand Prix. I mean, he did a huge adjustment. He made himself better. You know, I could see him putting on 10 more pounds, because he's a tall guy. How tall is he? Like 6'2"?
Easy. Yeah, I think 6'2", 6'3". Yeah.
Oh, wow. So he needs to put on another
10, 15 he looks like he might need like another year of improvement.
Yeah.
I mean, his legs actually look thin from the front, you know, because he's so tall.
Honestly, he has the prettiest body, but he still need that. Now that's why when we talk about size, he need to have a little more size. Yeah. And somebody got to tell those guys to tan their faces, for God's sake. That's a joke. Go tan your face, guys. What's wrong with you? What the hell's wrong with you? Faces. Honestly, it's stupid. It's stupid. With all due respect to everyone. You do not have a white face. You do not do that. What's wrong with these guys? Use a little tanning, like Clinique. Put something. Clinique for men, for God's sake. It's like, face look like Casper the Friendly Ghost. What's wrong with these guys?
I don't know.
Your face is getting tan too. What do I think about what?
Marcus, what do you think about Quinton?
They just don't have that natural Samir glow. You know what I mean? Samir can get away with it. They don't have that natural tan. You gotta paint your face, man. It looks weird. But as far as Quinton goes, I feel like he looked a little out of place. But I do feel like I really want to see him fill out. I know he's doing the Toronto show in almost 2 weeks now, a little over 2 weeks. And I think, and I hope he comes. And great coach. I hope he comes in full, and I think they will. I think that's what was missing, the fullness. I think we saw from prejudging compared to finals, he was super flat in comparison. I think he definitely stepped it up come the finals, the night show. Abs were a little bit better, a little bit more connectivity when it came to like the chest, the shoulder. Like there was just a little bit more, to where in the morning we were kind of left hanging when it came to some of that. But I do think that a little bit more size is going to help this guy out, which sucks because he just took a year and some change off to gain the size.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So I guess that's another question: is this, how do you do that if you just, but he is somebody who's battling, same thing, apples to oranges when it comes to Nick, right? Or in this case, bananas to oranges. Like, you got somebody who is tall, aesthetically pleasing, who it's going to be a lot more to fill out that a 6'2", 6'3" frame. I mean, as you said, John, we see it in the leg department. Quads look incredible from the front, but like if we compare him to somebody else as far as size, we see one of those side shots where Nick is right by him. It's going to probably look double the size when it comes to width and depth. We see it in the hamstrings.
Yeah.
What was his placing?
His placing was 6th. Yeah.
6th.
What place?
6th place.
5th or 6th?
6th.
6th.
Yeah, I still like his body, and I think he's the future for sure. I mean, for his height, I mean, Fitzwater looks like so much bigger, and he's a lot shorter. So he need to probably put on 15, 20 pounds of pure muscle for that frame to really look like someone like Samson.
Yeah.
He's got a beautiful body. I love his physique.
Me too. He looks like Tony Freeman in that one shot.
Prettier. Pretty body.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the widest shoulder, but pretty physique. I don't think he's missing anything really. Clean rib cage, small waist. I like his body.
Yeah.
I can tell you from his neck, he was a flat. His neck tells me that he was a flat as a pancake. Yeah.
Well, that'll be interesting if he's doing the Toronto show in 2 weeks. We'll see how much. If they can fill him out, I wonder how big of a difference it'll look on his physique.
You remember when Makawi was in 7th place at the Mr. Olympia 82?
Yeah.
And he was doing the venture on that stuff. He was completely depleted. And he looked good, though. But when he went to Sweden, he was like about 12 pounds bigger and way more ripped. So this is the thing. I mean, the fat and flat, people cannot differentiate between fat and flat. He's flat.
Yeah.
He's flat. He definitely capable of putting on 7-8 pounds of intracellular fluid right there, from my perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what that looks like.
Oh, if he put on 7-8 pounds of proper reserve in the right compartment, wow. That would have moved him to the top 3, in my opinion.
Because he's shredded here. I mean, he's in great shape.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a huge difference
you could
in size.
You could see in that comparison that Scott just pulled up with those other guys. I mean, his physique is way, way, way more beautiful than all those guys together,
Especially standing next to the Angel, the 212. I mean, you got this guy towering over him. Very beautiful physique.
Yeah.
I mean,
I want to see him when he's bulked up, see what he look like. I want to see pictures of him when he's full, like when he's about 20 pounds heavier. I want to see. Can we show something like when he's completely full? I want to look at that. Yeah.
These are gym pictures, but
yeah. I think he could definitely put on 10 pounds of pure muscle in the future, 15 pounds. But if he does it the same way he's doing it right now, he's gonna have that pretty clean look. I like his look. Look at that. That looks impressive. Wow, that's pretty good. Yeah, he's full right there. I bet you he's about 20 pounds at least.
I mean, if you look at pictures of Ronnie when he was coming up, before 98, like 94, 95. I mean, Ronnie he had the structure, he had the muscle shape, he just didn't have the size yet. And once he filled out, 8-time Mr. Olympia,
Very true.
Yeah.
This guy could be just like that.
And actually, I like his overall physique better than some of those Mr. Olympia. His body, look at his calves, diamond, small ankle, good size. I like his body, but he is under construction.
Yeah.
Let's say he's under construction. Yeah. Give him a year or so with 20 pounds of pure muscle. Oh my God, he's going to be like deadly dangerous. So look at Ron Coleman. You're right.
Yeah. What impresses me too about Quinton is not just his structure, but the muscle separation. I mean, he's got really good muscle separation. So if he can keep that separation as he keeps getting bigger, man, he's going to look really impressive.
Yeah, I think that picture we just saw.
I think he's smart. He seemed to be doing the right thing.
Yeah, I think the picture we just saw.
He seemed to be doing it right, John.
I think 2022 And then I think it was like a 27-pound difference between that and now. And that just goes to show that's a huge difference. And it looked like an amateur to like the next, a true pro. Like, yeah, these right here, comparing these to what we see right after here, that's different.
Mark my word, he's going to be a force to reckon with. Just give him time.
Yeah, it might take 2 or 3 more years, but yeah.
He may do it in another year or two, but I think it's smarter to take time and gain it the right way.
Me too.
So, I don't like.
Hey, Samir, we got another.
What's that?
We got a question from one of our fans, and it said, when you won the '83 Olympia, did you use a high protein, high carb diet with little to no fat, or a ketogenic diet?
No, I was on high carbs and until the final phase where I start cutting down calorie and I cut my carbs a little bit, because here's what happened. Most people don't realize it. You can't go down boom cold turkey. You got to do it in stages. When I went in Germany, I was in shape. Right. I was on high carbs basically. Then once you burn the fat, you can afford to lose a little bit of muscle where you get more carved in and deeper striation and separation. So that was it. So yeah, I dropped probably my carbs to about maybe toward the very end, somewhere around. I didn't do every day the same, but I would say I was under 200 grams of carbs, approximately.
Okay.
About that. And then I loaded up, and I didn't really load a lot. If I loaded enough, I could have even been fuller. But at that point, I didn't want to, make mistakes. And I did what I did in 82. In 82, I loaded up around 72 hours prior to the show. But I did it in a reasonable, I didn't like go, whoa, 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 whoa. I didn't really blow up. Back in the days, once you rip to the bone, you could eat. Like, for example, Arnold, he will like eat for a few days. Casey Vieto, they eat like crazy the final 72 hours. They don't even care what they eat. Once you rip, you're not going to get fat. You're going to get that glycogen into your muscle. You will not get fat, my friend. Most people think, oh, if I load up, you don't. You just have to understand how to deal with electrolyte management and keep you calm and do it. Like Lee Haney does similar way. Lee Haney would eat for like 72 hours or more. So once you burn all the fat, yeah, so I lowered my carbs the final phase, Jean, the final like couple weeks. And my calorie dropped down to about slightly over 2,000. And I was just looking for quality.
2,000, wow, that's pretty low.
That's low, yes. And that's not it was not done to burn fat, because my fat was completely gone 2 weeks out. And then I just want to carve in, get more deeper and deeper. And so it worked just right. Yeah. Okay. I was like I was about 209 when I was to Munich, where I trained. And I was in shape. I guest posed prior to that in San Jose, and people like, wow, my condition was good. But then you go into the carving part, the final phase, and so it worked good. And
what'd you weigh at the show, Samir?
196.
The Lava 196. Okay. That's what his name is.
196.
The Lava 196.
Yeah. Well, no bullshit. Okay. I mean, this is why I tell people, man, you can have a Mack truck and I put a Ferrari next to it. You're not going to look at the Mack truck. And that's why you got to go with quality. Unless you have a Ferrari, a huge Ferrari with like 20 passenger. But you got to go with quality. Let's put it this way. We are doing bodybuilding to build a healthy, beautiful body. And yes, you can keep it healthy and beautiful and live to 80, 90, maybe 100. Not the way it's done today, guys. I'm telling you, the way it's done today, it's wrong. 100% wrong. And I can tell you one thing and give you an example of you remember Victor Richard?
Mm-hmm.
Victor Richard, he was over 300 pounds. And I will show you a photo of his middle. His waist was still small. So it's just, there are, you know what, that's what I'm saying. There's a couple capable coaches out there that I trust, but the majority I don't approve. Why? Because I've been there, done that. And so don't go for size at all costs. That's why I tell people like Hunter Labrada, don't fall in love with size. Even Derek.
Right.
Well, Derek, beautiful body, but I would say to Derek, you big enough. He's only like 5'5", 5.5", 5'6". Is a slightly a hair taller than Franco Colombo. But his competition is pretty stiff. So I think Derek with quality, he'll be unbeatable. With quality.
Yeah.
But if he lose the quality, then guess what? It don't matter if he weigh 270. It don't matter. Is he better to be 235 or 230 or 228 chiseled to the bone? He'll be beyond massive at his height. And he will secure Mr. Olympia. But then you're going to stand next to Hadi Chopin, and Hadi come in with etched to the bone middle, etched to the bone chest. And, you know, the back is very much contested. They both have, Derek has a beautiful back, but we need to etch it. And Hadi Chopin need to work on get striated delts because Hadi can have more striation in his deltoid. This is one thing that if I have to give my opinion about this guy. Hadi's got shredded legs. Derek improved his legs. His beautiful overall balance is incredible. All you got to do is you build the house. Just work on decoration now. Don't go fall in love with square footage. I want a 10,000 square feet home. I don't care. You can have 5,000 square feet home and it's below that 10,000 square feet home buy it. You got to go for quality. And that's what I did in Germany to answer back your question. Yeah, I cut down and I carved in. And that's what won the Mr. Olympia. I wasn't thinking, I want to be the biggest guy. In fact, that condition won me against guys like Haney, the great Frank Zane. I mean, Lance Dreyer, all these guys were more massive than me. Yusuf Pulkos were like 240, right, John?
Bertil Fox.
Fox, wow, it was like freaky. And so I came in more defined and deep separation and striation, That's why I'm telling Marcus right now, don't do it, Marcus. Quality.
It's a slow road for me. But hey, Samir, I got a question. Do you have like a favorite year for you? Like your favorite year, even if it was like a guest, but like a more hidden, but like do you have like a favorite year where your body was like, this is my favorite look?
There's a lot of things that I don't talk about, honestly. I had a situation where I was having, there was some negative things around me at the time. Honestly, I'm one of those guys that really love and adore Joe Weider. Joe Weider was a very good man. He was, and he treated him like his son. And something happened where people complicated things between us. And then there was one people, I don't want to even mention name right now. Some people were haunting me and really trying to derail my effort. And they didn't want to see me win, okay? I mean, 84 Olympia, no disrespect, Henry looked incredible. I was just as incredible and I was just as good. And, let's say you may give me second or third, let's say, but that guy I'm talking about throw me out to sixth place. How could you do that? See, so basically I was swimming against the tide. I had a lot of complication that actually I was worried. And that one guy, he's no longer in the IFBB right now. He was like an enemy within. Like he would not let me. In Helsinki, I was in better shape than I did in 82 Olympia. I swear. In Helsinki, I could have won. They gave me fifth place. I don't want to talk about negativity here, but when you go to a show, you got to have a clear mind. You can't have doubt. But those doubts start to come in because every time I know who's handling the judges, and that guy was there like an ant in my pants that need to dance. But yeah, in '85, Marcus, to answer your question, was probably one of my best condition, and that was in Boston and Worcester. I competed against Jeff King and Edward Kowak and Mike Zipper, what's his name, Lance Dreyer, and Terry
Mike
Pastel.
Sable.
Yeah, Mike Sable and Terry Pastel. And I was honestly, no bullshit, Serge Nubret happened to be there. He came in to see the show. And Serge looked at me back. He came into my room and he looked at me and said, "It's over. No way anybody's going to beat this." I swear to God, on the soul of my mother and father, that Serge looked at me and said, "Nobody's going to beat this." That was my best condition. I was about 204, 205 in Boston, Marcus. And the quality stayed there. So mass at all costs is stupid. So I've always done better when I'm like etched in. And remember, every time I won a contest, I was in a happy mode. I didn't have worry.
Oh, that's good.
So whenever I started to get worried about what's going on around me, oh, I'm going to be cheated or whatever, and that's not good. Yeah.
I love it. I love that. That's great. I struggle with the worry part a good bit. Like I allow my surroundings to affect me like quite heavily. So I
Why?
well, I mean, I have severe OCD, and a lot of it is like intrusive thinking and thoughts. So there's a lot of just what if. So I'm really like hyper focused on my surroundings to a fault, and to where I'll create things in my head. So I can really relate to what you're saying as far as when something is not right. So for instance, you're worried about the ants in your pants. I constantly find myself walking around with ants in my pants. Per se. So. I appreciate your answer, and it spoke volumes to me. It's something I can remember.
You need to snap out of any negativity. You know why Arnold Schwarzenegger and Franco Colombo were always looking awesome? Anyone can guess that?
They were happy as
Why did Franco Colombo, Frank Zane, and Arnold? Why? Because they were here. All they did is train, eat, and sleep, and Joe Weider backing them up. And you know what? They're in a happy mode. When you're in a happy mode, your body works like a clock.
Oh, yeah.
But when you have worried in the back of your head, that will come back to haunt you. So the bottom line, have that happy attitude surrounding you, and otherwise don't compete. But I've always tried my best to keep myself in a mellow mood, in a happy mode. But unfortunately, that bonehead who was involved heavily in the IFBB, and so anyway, it is what it is. But I'm here, and he's no longer in the IFBB. So anyway, live and let live.
All right,
Some
guys.
people don't like that. So
we'll wrap it up there, and we'll come back next week, and we'll do a review of the California Pro.
Awesome.
Week.
Enjoyed it.
Sounds good.